Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, children. How are you all? I hope you have all been working really hard with the sabak that Appa has been setting you. And most of all, I hope you are behaving for your parents, okay? Now, I don't know if you remember, but the last sunnah of the month was helping with household chores. Okay, so this is a perfect opportunity for us to act upon this sunnah because you have lots of time at home now to help around the house and especially tidying your bedroom, etc. Okay, so try and make the most of it and gain lots and lots of reward, inshallah. Okay, moving on to sabak, right? So today I'm actually going to give you sabak for 2 days, okay? So I'm going to give you sabak for Monday and Tuesday. And we are starting a new lesson today. And if you look at the screen, we've got new sabak, which is page 72, and you're going to do the whole page. You can share that and split it up across 2 days. So you can do half on Monday, half on Tuesday, okay? And we'll look into detail of how this new sabak is going to be recited, okay? Okay, so children, so moving on. With the new sabak, we're going to do the same thing. What the name of the new sabak is, what it looks like, and how you're going to read it. So what sounding you make, and how you're going to recite it. Okay, so that is page 72. So everyone turn to page 72. Okay, Bismillah, are we ready? So the name of this sabak is small noon. I'm going to bring it here close and you can have a look. It's a bit similar to the small meme in terms of the size of the noon. So just like small meme is very, very tiny, okay? But the difference is small noon has a gusra, whereas small meme had no concept. So this is actually much, much more easier than small meme, okay? So this is called small noon. This is called small noon, and it always has a kasra. There we go. A small noon, and it always has a kasra. So that's what small noon looks like, okay? It has a kasra, and we will read the noon just like a normal letter, okay? Now, the difference with this is, well, the main golden rule for the small noon is any alif that comes around the small noon, it won't have a concept. So we will ignore it, okay? Now this alif that comes around the small noon, okay, it might be at the beginning, it might be underneath it, it might be on top of it, or it might be on the side of it. But whatever happens, no matter what happens, this small noon, okay, you will only read the small noon and stick to the next letter. You ignore all the alifs that are around it, okay? So whatever alif you see around the small noon, you will ignore. And I'll show you, for example, over here. If you look at the first one, okay, can you spot the alif that is around the small noon? Yep, shall we have a look? There. So this time the alif is after the small noon. Moving on to the next example. There we go. That's what small noon looks like. And next to it is the alif that is silent. So you ignore that alif. Again here, can you see the alif that is around the small noon? Let's go to an example where the alif is maybe there. Look at this example number 5. Okay, can you see there's actually a silent alif even before it? Okay, we will look at this example in more detail, but I just want to explain to you that small noon, okay, is a tiny small noon with a kasra, and usually it has an alif around it. So it might be before, it might be after, it might be on top, it might be underneath. It can even be both places, okay? Just like this. Okay, just like this. So the alif can be anywhere. But what are we going to do? We're going to ignore the alifs that are around the small noon. Okay? So ignore the alifs and read the small noon and stick it to the next letter. Whatever's going to come next after the small noon. Okay, that's the arrow showing that the small noon sticks to the next letter and you ignore all the alifs that are around it. Okay, let's have a quick look at the first example. So here, nu, hu, then you have to read the small noon, ignore the alif that next to it, and jump. What are you going to jump to? what are you going to jump to? So the small noon is going to be like just like a normal noon with a kasra and stick to the ba. So you will say nuhu, nib, nahu, nib, nib. You ignore that alif, okay? We're going to look at another example where there's an alif even before the small noon, okay, in a little bit more detailed. Okay, children, so if you look here, okay, in this example, I want you to spot number one, first spot where the small noon is. Okay, got it? Let's have a look. Right, so here's our small noon. Right, now when we see our small noon, we know we're going to read it just normal, okay? But the golden rule is if there are any alifs, okay? If there are any alifs around the small noon, we are not going to read them, okay? So over here, how many alifs can you see that we won't be reading? Okay, count with your fingers and tell your parents. Okay, good, that's correct, 2. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cross off the 2 alifs. So we've got one there and we've got one there. They've got no concept on them. That's why we're knocking them off, okay? And we're going to read the ra just like ra, because we're not going to read this alif. And we're going to read the noon with the lam because you don't read the alif next to it. So nil, khoy, ra, nil. So we're going to knock off those alifs, okay? Just like this. khoy, ra, nil, wasiyati, khayranil wasiyati. Have a good look at that example and try and understand what Abba is talking about in terms of the alif, okay? So if we bring it back to the Sabaq, and that example was over here, look, okay? There, look, you've got silent alifs around it, okay? So sometimes you might have it before the small noon, on top of the small noon, underneath, or behind, after it. Look, there's another example here. I'm not going to tell you all of them because I want you to try and work it out by yourself, inshallah. Okay, so that is your Sabaq. Okay, that is your Sabaq for 2 days, and I want you to complete that page 72. Okay, you can split it up in 2 parts if you like, if it makes it easier for you. Okay, it's a very easy Sabaq, much easier than small meme. I think you will be fine, inshallah. Now we will move on to the revision Sabaq, okay? There we go, children. Revision Sabaq, page 68. And these are all Quran sentences, okay? But what you're going to try and do is try and at least recite 2 words together, okay? So don't do what we normally do where we read in parts and then join up. These sentences should be read really nice and fluently, okay? Don't forget CLST as well. And it's very easy, okay? Very easy here. Lots of revision of different types of concepts. Please work really, really, really hard, okay? Now I'll quickly show you what revision you've got for du'as as well. So for dua revision, you've got 2 du'as before entering the toilet and after leaving the toilet. Okay, if you're reading these every day, then really your revision is kind of really done, okay? But make sure you're reading your letters correctly. And if you are struggling, then visit the website and go over the webinars with your parents. Okay, children, so you've got 3 things to do over 2 days, okay? New Sabaq, revision of Sabaq, and dua revision, okay? Work really, really hard and make sure you're behaving super well for your parents. And do continue to make lots of dua, and then inshallah we'll be back in madrasa really, really quickly, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.